A lot of tutorials, including pros, say you have to jump upward. The first time I heard this, it didn't quite make sense. Cause, seemed to me, it was obvious that my board lands on the hillside as I flick it to the hillside. So how should we understand this? Chances are, either your favorite pros are lying to you, or somehow, they are unconsciously jumping to the hillside without even realizing they are. What's the science behind it? And where does your board really go according to the laws of physics? You are watching Why the Trick, and today we are going to study a trick scientifically. Have you ever had this experience when you are practicing flicking while getting off your board? You find, it is likely that my board lands on my hillside, but your favorite pros always say you have to jump upward like ollies, not backward. But why, really? What's causing the difference? Before talking about how to do it, let's study its physics based on facts. Analysis. To kickflip, you have to slide up your front foot diagonally forward and flick out the side of the nose. By the time you flick it, your board has already gotten into the air because of your pop and slide. Generally, as you do it right, you'd be just popping the tail straight down, which would not generate any energy to push your board to the toe side. Whereas to kickflip, you have to drag your front foot diagonally off to the side. Without energy that could offset such force, if you apply force to an object in the air, the object will be dragged to a direction the force goes. Verification. Theory aside, let's take a look how my body and the board actually move in a kickflip, so that we can see if my board actually goes to the hillside. Let's turn on the echo and see how it works. Let's stop here for a moment. Here, as you can see, me on the left side is before popping and the one on the right side is after popping. And you can clearly see that my board lands on the hillside for just around the borderway from the starting point, whereas my body doesn't move much. We will talk about this in a moment, but just like any kind of sports, you want to keep your body axis straight upward so that you can maintain your balance. And of course, you don't want to move it too much. So what, does that still mean I have to jump upward? The answer is, you do have to jump upward. In the previous video, we learned we have to lift up our bodies first before popping down the tail. In reaction to such an action that applies force downward, we'd eventually have to go or jump to the other direction, in this case, upward. But it is also true that your board lands on the hillside, so somehow you have to find a way to land back on your board that goes to the hillside while jumping upward. Let's imagine how we could jump backward. There are two options. Option number one is to tilt your body axis to the hillside. This, obviously, is not favorable. Not only will it become harder for you to maintain your balance, you won't be able to flick your board effectively. Option number two is to distribute your weight to the hillside while keeping your body axis straight upward. By doing this, you'll be able to both pop the tail as hard as you want so you can jump high, and you'll be able to jump backward just by trying to jump upward. This is because the center of gravity of your body is already shifted to the hillside. Practice. Enough theories, how do you make it happen? Step number 1. Practice flipping your board while getting off your board in front of it. You really should master this step, because even before talking about the weight distribution, you need to know where your board lands. Otherwise, your board may go anywhere and it will be impossible for you to find the right position of your body. And don't worry if it doesn't work out very well at first, you will get a hang of it. Practice step as many times as possible before moving on to the next level. Remember, what's important here is to bring your board to the hillside. Its travel distance may vary depending on your flick, but in general, it travels around 30 centimeters in the air. So, if you see your board land on the hillside and that place is right next to where you started, you are on the right track. Step number 2, and then that's the only time you can start shifting your weight to the hillside. This time, try getting off your board to the hillside while flicking and try to see how far you can jump backward. It is extremely important to keep your body axis straight upward as much as possible. Don't lean backward, shift your weight backward. Step number 3. Experience some of this. You will get your kickflips by combining all the previous steps. Just for your reference, the reason why this step is so important is because it virtually uses the same technique as a kickflip does. By overlaying those clips, you can tell how close they are. Starting all the way from approach and pop, flick, and even landing. I mean, how different are they anyway? So whenever you have trouble flipping your board or landing back on it, I highly recommend going back to the step number 1 and practice flicking while getting off your board to the toe side. Let's do a little recap using this 3D model. Consider the green line is the center of gravity of your body, and the red line is your boards. I've been saying you have to shift your weight to the heel side before popping. This is because the board eventually goes to the heel side. It is also true that you can't just change the direction you are moving to after getting into the air, unless you can fly. So you have to find a way to move the green line to a location that the red line will be. And to do this, you have to distribute the weight to the heel side before popping. You might have already realized the transition of the green line is already completed and doesn't move much even before popping. On the other hand, the red line moves a lot. Aligning those two lines is directly translated, bringing your body right above the board, which obviously is essential to land back on your board. So in summary, your board lands on the heel side as you kickflip. I admit it's not like we proved it in this video, but based on facts, if you apply certain force to an object, that object goes to the same direction as the force goes, which in this case is the heel side. Number 2, shift your weight to the heel side and jump after that, not the other way around. This is because your board will go to the heel side and your body has to go to the same direction too. And obviously, you can't just jump straight upward and change the direction you are going to in the middle of the air. So you have to find a way to, say, place your body to the heel side. Number 3, lean backward without tilting your body axis. This can be done by distributing weight to the heel side. Make sure to keep your body axis straight upward so you can pop and flick effectively. That's all for this episode. As always, you can interact with the 3D models you saw in this video on my website. Please proceed from the link in description and go find your angle. Also, there is so many things I want to talk about, so please leave a comment down below and let me know what you'd like me to do next. It is your why that grows this channel. Thank you for watching, until next time.